Hey guys, this is Courtney Epps here, and I am so excited today to have the Ray Higdon from Rank Makers. And I'm just going to let Ray just kind of share who he is and why he got involved in the network marketing industry and what he's doing in the world today.
Wow. Well, thanks for having me. Honored to be on here. So I would say I got serious about network marketing because I had tried it in the past. Back in 2009, I had been in real estate here in the state of Florida for quite a few years. When the market crashed, I got wiped out, and I mean totally wiped out. So I had emptied my bank account, my 401k, my IRA that I'd had since I was like 19 years old, was in the process of selling furniture, still went into foreclosure, then also went through a divorce. At one point was sleeping on my buddy's couch, and I really didn't know what I was going to do because, back then everyone I knew was also in real estate, was also wiped out, and most of them were in foreclosure too. No one was hiring. My credit was shot, didn't have money, didn't know what I was going to do. And so very, very grateful that, 11 years ago, yesterday, actually, 11 years ago yesterday is when a friend of mine in Cape Coral, Florida, Chris, reached out to me and said, "Hey man, I'm doing this thing. Would you want to, check it out?" And I'm like, "Yeah, well, I got nothing else going on." And so I got serious about network marketing then, and decided to, work my butt off and become a top earner. Did become the #1 income earner in that company. Fast forward, and long story short, about 4.5 years ago, my wife and I decided to no longer actively build a team and just focus on coaching and training. We didn't mean to build a coaching and training company, but that's what happened. And we were kind of doing both things for a while. And then we just realized that, hey, you know what? This is where our passion is. Let's focus on the coaching and training aspect. And that's what we've been doing for the last 4 years.
I love it. And you know what's crazy is that I actually went to meet Chris Kent August of 2018, and on my way to Tampa, Florida to meet him, to talk to him about joining a company, I heard the statistics by Grant Cardone, and it shifted everything. It shifted my whole entire thinking. And so, when I heard the statistics that the average household makes 60 grand a year and pays 14,000 in taxes, their take home is 46,000 a year. And then what's left over, the cost of living is $53,000. And so there's, the cost of living is 53. So 46 is the take home. They're going in debt, $7,000 a year to work on average. And so it hit me so hard. And I said, man, I can't be in network marketing anymore. Like what I have to do is, because I am an accountant and because I had the experience in the industry, I had to start sharing with people why they needed to be in network marketing. And so, just like you, I mean, I've become a huge advocate for the network marketing industry. So tell me, I know you do a lot of different things as far as kind of growing, helping people grow a lot in the personal growth and development space. What do you do to help people? And tell us a little bit about Rank Makers.
Yeah. So we help people generate more leads, attract more people to them, crush on social media. And so we started Rank Makers 3 years ago this month. And we actually formally started tracking the stats of it about 2 years ago. And so we've helped network marketers bring in 166,000 new customers, 36,000 new reps, and achieve 7,600 rank advancements in the last 2 years. And the way that we do that is by just keeping things simple and just teaching them, first of all, the basics, the prospecting, the follow-up, the closing that a lot of people don't know. They don't come into this industry understanding how to do any of those things. And then on top of that, we also share with them, how to market to get people reaching out to you, how to generate leads, et cetera and so forth. And so I love the industry because it's the lowest risk, lowest overhead way for the average ordinary person to start a business. And, you take that and couple it with what you teach, and it's incredible. Because there's just so many people that their number one cost of the household is their taxes, and they don't even think about that.
Yeah.
And if only they just had a home-based business, whether they wanted to be a bajillionaire or not, if they just had the home-based business and used some of your strategies, they would actually be better off than if they didn't have that business. And that's what I wish more people knew that.
Yes.
That's why we love supporting what you're doing.
Yes. And I mean, and that's the cool part. It's like you can make more money in the network marketing industry. Most of that money on paper, you never have to end up paying taxes on in the beginning, because you can take the things that you're already spending money on as a W-2 employee, things like living expenses, your meals, your mileage, your cell phone, your internet, you can hire your kids, all these things, you're already spending that money. But the thing is that as a W-2 employee, you don't get to write them off as a tax deduction.
Right.
But the minute you decide to become a business owner, which and network marketing is a great place to do that, and you just open your mouth and talk to somebody and tell them what you're doing, now you have the advantage of taking massive tax deductions. So although you can make money on paper, it can still look like you have a loss, which is perfectly legitimate. Amazon literally claimed losses for 20 years and did not pay any taxes. And so that's perfectly legitimate if you are truly attempting to earn income. And now those losses on paper can offset any income that you make. And so when you understand that, it's like you literally would be brain dead not to own some sort of home-based business.
Yeah. And you know what's wild is, it's popular with politicians and the media to argue for a higher minimum wage or just higher wages, for the workers. And, the problem with that is if you don't have knowledge of the tax code, you may end up in a higher tax bracket and actually bring home less, as weird as that sounds. And so I just love education, and let's educate some people, help them understand how to really, do better for themselves financially.
Yes. And so tell me, what is one of the, I love probably the thing that really gets me excited in the network marketing space is the ability to take someone who has no knowledge and help them grow, especially with personal growth and development and continuing education, but also having an upline who's willing to help them get to where they're going. So can you elaborate just on the model? I mean, I think so many people think that the network marketing industry model is not legitimate. And I'm like, that is the smartest model that you could ever make for a company.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great model. The big, issue is that when people come into network marketing and they don't understand what they're doing and they overhype it, or they say how easy it is. I never did that. If someone said, well, hey, how long until I'm making good money? I said, well, what if it takes you 5 years?
Right.
I would try to weed the wussies out and, and try to tell them, hey, it isn't easy. Right. And so I think that's what, gives network marketing a bad name. But I'll give you a great example. So back in, 2006, probably, I was running these public meetings teaching local businesses Google AdWords. So I would teach them how to totally dominate their competition and how to just get way more business off local Google AdWords. So it had nothing to do with network marketing. And a guy came up to me and he said, he goes, hey, he owned an air conditioning company. And he said, hey, man, how much do I need to pay you for you not to work with any of my competitors? And I said, well, what do you need me to do? He goes, nothing. I don't want you to do anything. We already do Google AdWords. I don't want any of them doing what you just taught, because that's better than what we're doing. I don't want you to do anything. I just don't want you to work with any of my competitors. And I was like, I didn't really know what I was doing back then. I knew ads and I knew marketing. And I'm like, I don't know, $3,000. He's like, done. He pulled out a checkbook. He wrote me $3,000 check and had me sign I won't work with any other air conditioning companies for, I think, 5 years. And that is an example of standard business. Standard business is dog eat dog. Standard business is how do I bring my competitors down, bring myself up. In network marketing, like you mentioned, you have a built-in mentor that wants to see you succeed, that wants to help you. And, this isn't, and there's so much more collaboration in network marketing. You'll have someone share a strategy that's working for them, and they'll share it with all kinds of people. Whereas in typical business, that's not the way it is. If someone has a strategy that works, they don't want to tell anybody. They're like, oh man, I hope no one finds this out. Or they'll stroke a check to keep people from finding out that strategy. And so that's a very marked difference. Is here is a lot more collaboration, a lot more belief in abundance. There's plenty of customers out there. In other businesses, that's just not the way. Local business owners, they don't get together and mastermind. That doesn't happen. But if you look at, like in our group of rent makers, I mean, we have, a little bit over 15,000 people in there, and I mean, almost every company is represented in there, and they get along, they share strategies, and have a good time. That just doesn't happen in regular business.
No. And the cool part is like, and I think we've had this conversation before, is that it works really well when network marketers work together, because we're all in this one industry together trying to help people. And you may have a friend that likes makeup, but they're not interested in nutrition. And or you may have a friend that likes, to do travel. And so there should be a network of people that are trying to help other people, because everyone needs a home-based business. Like, I don't care which one you join, and Ray doesn't care which one you join, but everybody needs a home-based business. And the more successful we can help people become through tax savings and also making extra money, the better off everyone is. It just rises the entire network marketing industry.
For sure. I agree.
I love it. So tell me, you did real estate before. I know you guys you have 4 children?
I have 4. So Jess and I have 2, and I have 2 older boys.
That's awesome.
3 boys, 1 girl.
That's awesome. And you just had a baby boy.
We have a 10-month-old baby. He'll be 11 months and like 8 days, I think, or That's 7 days awesome. Next week. And so we have a 10-month-old.
Are you guys having any more?
We are not. We're done. We're good.
I mean, you could meet me. Like, I have 6. So, I mean, a couple more. No, they're tax deductions, Ray. Like, I mean, they are tax deductible. You can write them off.
Right.
It's so funny. People ask if they can borrow my kids so they can take them off as a tax deduction and hire them. And I'm like, well, they cost a lot more than what I save in taxes. But it is nice to know that you can hire your kids. And that is one of the biggest deductions is that a lot of people don't think about. And here's the cool part. And I'll share this with you. Is that I had my staff, I wrote down the 60,000, and at the end of the day, they're going to end up paying 14,000 in taxes, whatever. Yeah. And so I shared with them as a W-2 employee where they are, because my staff has to understand strategy. They have to understand that they would be better off as an independent contractor or a 1099 employee. And so I showed them making $450,000 a year as a business owner, and how I could write off my Cadillac, and how I could write off my Suburban that we bought last year, and how I was able to write off my swimming pool, because that's a fringe benefit, because I hired my children who work on my property and I allowed them to swim in my swimming pool. And I wrote off Tony Robbins being a platinum partner. That was $85,000. And the travel around that, the $40,000 in travel. And I got to the bottom, and I ended up actually bringing home $10,000. So I got a refund because of child tax credit and earned income credit. And they paid $14,000 on 60. And when you understand that, it's like, man, why wouldn't you be involved in this industry? Why wouldn't you attempt to earn an income? Because it is, and people say, you're right, Ray, it's not easy. I think people are scared to have conversations with people. But, my biggest thing is to help people understand. It's like, it is our duty and responsibility to educate people and give them the opportunity to make their own decision, whether they decide to join you or not, or whether they just decide to buy your product. You're sharing with them the information that you've received, and you're trying to help them whether they see it that way.
Yeah, for sure. And back to, what I was saying earlier is it's the lowest risk, lowest overhead way to do that. You look at a Domino's franchise. I have a friend that owns quite a few Domino's franchises. You buy a Domino's franchise, it's $250,000, and they tell you it's a 10-year return on investment. Wow. So that means in 10 years, you should have made your investment back. So if you were $1,000 to join your network marketing company and you told people it was a 10-year return on investment, you'd be 250 times better.
Yes.
Because it was a less expense, a less risk.
Crazy.
And one of the businesses that I had an advertising franchise. It was $38,000 to start. Me and a buddy started it, split the cost, and for that $38,000, we got a big manual that said you'll never make it, right? I mean, just a manual of that it's not going to work out for you, basically, and 10 empty plastic ad frames, nothing inside, no art, no nothing, just empty ad frames that we could hang up, and that was $38,000. I mean, you can make that kind of business work. I got a friend that launched a restaurant. It was $80,000 for the brick oven for the pizza. You can make that work, but it's a lot more risk and it's a lot more overhead and it's a lot scarier. And yes, you get tax benefits in all of those different scenarios too. It's just with network marketing, it's very low risk, low overhead, same kind of tax benefits. And so, that's what crazy. So I agree. More people do need to understand that and know that.
Yes, and it's a lot easier. I'm gonna tell you this. I've been in network marketing and I've been an accountant. And I've tried not to be an accountant for so many years, but I realize that's a superpower. But this is a lot easier. Having a conversation with people, to talk to them and share with them a way that they can have a better life, a way that they could have a product that's amazing or a service that's amazing. That is a lot easier than working every single day of your life in, like, say, an accounting firm, because when I get off of here, like, this fuels my energy. And I know for people that are introverts, it probably depletes their energy. But this gives me energy and drives me to be a better person when I get off of these interviews. But when I get off of here, I'm going to go review, I've got 100 tax returns waiting on me to review. That's hard. Like, making sure the payroll is there on Friday to pay, $15,000 a week in payroll and a $9,000 a month building. Those things are hard and those are scary, but you're right. I mean, you can make it in business, but you can also lose. But here, if you are in network marketing, it's hard to really lose. Because you can't, you're not going to buy, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of product because the company already has the product. And, I lost a business that I had in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and 10 years ago. And actually, this year is 11 years. And the guy I sold it to quit paying me. And after 4 months, we had a 5-year non-compete. He had a 5-year payment plan. And after 4 months, he stopped paying me. And I was $250,000 in debt. I had a non-compete, so I could not work in the accounting and insurance industry. And yes, I could have worked, but it would have caused it to be some sort of legal battle. And so I was unemployable and I couldn't start over. And I was broken. I was brokenhearted. I didn't know what to do. And I had, small children that I had to provide for. So you can fail at a lot of things. The great thing is that if you fail here, it's nowhere near as bad as, going into a debt $250,000.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and it just depends. It's all perspective, like if you're comparing this against the risk of a job, okay, fine, right? You're probably not paying for your uniform, probably not paying, for, that job, but it's also not something you own. Anytime I've left the job, they immediately stopped paying me and I couldn't sell my position. Exactly. That is not the case in network marketing or with other businesses. And so, I think some people do draw that, hey, you got to pay for it. And it's like, well, you got to pay for any business that you could possibly build into an asset or build into, something that's going to provide you with amazing benefits. Yes. Agree.
Well, and here's the cool part. So, and I like to share with people this way. If you make $100,000 a year as a W-2 employee, you're going to pay FICA taxes of 7.65%. It's relevant as on the percentages. And you're going to pay federal and state taxes on the entire $100,000. And you get no benefit, like you get no say so on whether you pay this much in taxes or not. And typically it's about 40% that you're going to end up paying in taxes. Right. If you make that same $100,000 as a business owner, then you can take that $100,000 and deduct your living expenses that are now business expenses. So meals, mileage, cell phone, internet, business use of home, all these things, you can deduct those from that 100 grand and say you're left over with 50,000. Now you pay federal and state taxes, and you could potentially wipe out 80% of the FICA taxes as well if you structure the company right. So you're always paying less in taxes. So a lot of people get that mixed up, is they think as a W-2 employee, oh, I'm having all my taxes taken out of my paycheck. But what they don't realize is like they're having a ton of taxes taken out of their paycheck. They have no determination on whether it comes out or not. We as business owners, we actually get to decide, because we could buy something else and then end up paying less in taxes, something that we want, right?
Right. Yeah. And I mean, some people, they're excited that they get a, if they're working at a job and they get a tax, check back at, at the end of the year or whatever. And it's just, well, basically you've allowed your own money to sit in a non-interest bearing account and have some of that back, I guess. But, if you start to have deductions with a business and, you can actually keep that, and it makes a lot more sense.
I love it. So, all right, share with me, I'd love to have any thoughts that you have just on someone who is kind of on the fence, or someone who's not actively building their network marketing business like they joined. I just would love to have some, because you're really good at just offering advice and helping people understand how amazing this industry is and helping them grow. So whatever you got to say, I'd love to hear it.
So, I mean, you can, this is one of those things that you can make as big or as little as you want. One of the things we consistently help our rank makers with is their money mindset. And so, every Wednesday, we do Wealth Wednesday, where you do a random act of kindness for a stranger involved a financial exchange. And one of the reasons for that is to chip away at the money mindset that, you hear from, the media all the time and politicians all the time, that, people with lots of money are greedy and evil and capitalist pigs. And, money just is a magnifier. It makes you more of who you are. So if you're someone that likes to help people and make a difference and do things, well, guess what? Then with more money, you can do more cool stuff. And so network marketing allows you to have that track. When I was in, my last, job that I was in, 15 years ago, I wanted to spend more time with my kids, make more money, so I wasn't living check to check. That was not an option. HR didn't have a spot on the org chart where I showed up less, made more, and that wasn't an option. So I had a problem, or a couple problems, with no solution. There was no solution. What was the solution? Right? Go find another job, I guess, is one possible solution. But the higher, I was at a pretty high paying salary. And what I found is the higher your salary, the more demanding that job is. And, you can get, I mean, I know people that have multiple six-figure jobs, and they are stressed out because it's very high demanding on them. And so it's tough to get freedom and high income or high salary unless you're doing a business. And so with network marketing, you get to choose. If you want to make a little bit, $300 to $500 extra a month, keep some more of your tax dollars, you can choose to do that part-time. Does take work. It's not magic. You got to talk to people, see if they're open to your product, service, or opportunity. But you are not, unlike the people that go on Shark Tank, you're not sinking your life savings into a business. You're not, borrowing, giving away, 50% of your business to a shark, so that they help you with connections or with, industry, production or anything. It's, you talk to more people, you get to choose. And that's what's beautiful about it is, if you want to make a little bit, then you can. If you want to make a lot, then you can. It takes work. And so I would just encourage you to, look at your life of, okay, what if I don't do this? How will my life look in 10 years? Most people don't look at that. Most people, they look at the here and now, and they usually don't like it. They don't like their finances. They don't like how much they've saved. They don't like how often they vacation. They don't like, that they're not able to give enough to their church or their favorite charity or whatever. Well, fast forward that 10 years. Does that get better? For most people, it doesn't.
Mm.
Most people, they see health getting worse. They see their bills getting worse. They see their savings getting worse. They see everything getting worse. Well, what if you dedicated some time and actually built something that would help offset some of that? That would help you save more in taxes, help you make a little bit extra money, meet some new people. You know, a lot of my best friends I met through the industry, and meet some new people, meet some cool people. You know, so there's just a lot of benefits to network marketing, and income is certainly one of them, but it's not the only one.
I love it. And that, the whole legacy thing. And even, it just hit me, while you were talking, 2 years ago, I'd gotten to a point, I was scared to hire employees because I'd had
Mm,
such a bad reaction with some employees that worked for me in the
sure.
past. And one of the things that Tony Robbins taught me going to his event is like, it was actually 3 years ago, is that you have to hire people to do the things that you're not good at so that you can continue to grow. And, it was great. I hired one person and I ended up living in a house that was infested with mold and lost my memory for 6.5 months.
Wow.
And the great thing about that is that I hired that one person. And that's kind of what I see with network marketing. It's like, you don't have to go out and have a 5-year accounting degree and,
Right.
have 15, 20 years of accounting knowledge in order to be an expert, and have to have all these employees and all this stuff in place. You can literally start today and make a decision that I'm going to do this. And so,
Right.
thank God for her. That would be like having a downline, an employee, but I had
Right.
to pay her. It's really funny. It's
Right.
like, I see a downline as like an employee that I don't have to pay. Like I can teach them and they can work for me. And if they make money, then I make money. But if they
Right.
don't make money, I don't have to pay them. So it would be like perfect if I could, implement that in my tax practice, but it doesn't quite work like that.
Yeah, and that's why we preach culture so much. Is culture is the making of people to feel good, regardless of their level of desire or level of result. And that's what more people need to understand about network marketing. Too often, people treat their network marketing business like like they're a sales manager. And so you talked about Cardone earlier. I spent some time with their sales team, and he's got this building and around Miami, and there's only a finite number of spaces where he has cubicles where he has a sales team. So he is paying an overhead for people there. And if you go and you sit in one of those, if you take up one of those spaces that he's paying for and you do not produce, then probably needs to get rid of you, right? Well, network marketing, not only is it not that, right? You don't have to operate like a sales manager. You have an unlimited amount of space. We have one client that has 700,000 in his organization, so
Wow.
an unlimited amount of space, and whether they produce or not doesn't impact you negatively, only positively. And especially if you understand systems and you understand resources and tools and training, this is not you have to spend X amount of time with each and every individual, regardless of the performance. You get to set the culture. You get to set up the systems so that you work with those that that have questions or want to work with you or whatever. But you have unlimited upside there, and people need to understand that more. I think too often a leader will think, "Oh, it's my job. I got to get everyone making money, whether they want to or not," and that makes no sense, because if you're creating this, if you're creating this weird energy because someone has a low level of desire, then they're just going to leave, because who wants that? Who wants to feel like crap or a disappointment? They just take off. You don't have to do that.
And then there are some people that just get involved in the network marketing industry and they just want to fit in. They want
Yeah,
somewhere to be a
part of the
part of
movement.
it. They love it.
Yeah,
And that's perfectly fine. Like that's the cool part. It's like it attracts so many different types of personalities. And then you have people like, I would say that probably me and Ray are actions. Like, we're go-getters. We're going to make
yeah,
it happen. Like it doesn't matter what's going on. You put the blinders on and you just go. And then there's nurturers, and that attracts. There's a lot of that in the network marketing industry. and they just want to help people, but they're not really good at talking to people. They're just really good at giving away stuff. Like, here's my product, here's my service. Like, let me just give it to you. I call those nonprofits, they're really good at talking to everybody.
They still get tax breaks though.
Exactly. But I got a friend of mine, and I'm like, he is a nurturer. That's his number one. And he has all these contacts, and he has all these amazing things that he does, but he never actually asked you to buy anything.
Right.
He just tells you about them. And so if you want to buy them, you have to say, okay, let me buy that. Like, I'd like to have that. And too often, I think people just never ask somebody to actually buy from them.
Right. all the time. And I remember, in my, earlier, before, quarantine and everything else, we would do, we've done a lot of home meetings and, or restaurant meetings, breakfast meetings, whatever. And a lot of times I would hear someone say, after the presentation, they would turn to their guest and say, hey, that was pretty cool, huh? And they'd say, yeah. All right, man, well, thanks for coming. And I'm like, what are you doing here? Hey, you want to rock and roll with us? Like, I would have to ask the question for them. Yes, you have to ask the question. And a lot of people, like, for example, they'll post on social media all about their, company, product, whatever. And they're like, how come none of my friends ever asked me? Well, a lot of those friends may have seen the post or may not have, don't assume, but they may have seen the post and thought, I wonder why he never reaches out and talks to me about this. Why is he always trying to market to some stranger online, but never comes to me about this? So you're thinking they're being rude. They're thinking you're being rude. Just ask, hey, are you open to taking a look at what I got? If not, no big deal. And that's literally your job. That's your job in network marketing, is not to figure out supply chain management, currency conversion, trademark attorney stuff, not to figure any of that stuff out. Just say, hey, you open to taking a look at what I got? Yeah? Okay. No? Oh, all right. Right? That's your job. That's all you got. And so you point them to a resource, see if they want to do it or not. And so it's a very simple process. Doesn't mean it's easy, because you do get rejection along the way. You do have, tough days where someone, is a jerk to you or whatever. But as far as the risk component, as far as the overhead component and the complexity component, we're not doing brain surgery here. It's not too bad. It's not too bad.
Yes. And I mean, and people can be a jerk to you, at anything that you do.
Right.
We had a client email us this morning, and we were off by $1 on her mortgage interest, and she was very upset. Like, it was $1. So, people can be rude in any industry, but I think the thing that attracted me, and we've taken, about 30 minutes of your time, and I value what Ray has done, and it's so crazy how many circles we've kind of connected in.
Yeah.
But guys, you can really get good at network marketing. We have clients, our largest client, I would say, does about $24 million in the network marketing industry. And so people, I wish I would have done tax returns for people in network marketing when I was in network marketing. So when someone told me, like, nobody makes money in network marketing, I could laugh at them.
Right.
But there's so many people out there that talk negative, and they just don't understand what they're even saying. And the reason why is because they got in, somebody told them they might need to buy $1,000 or $2,000 worth of product, and they never opened their mouth and shared it, or they shared it with one person or two people, and those people hurt their feelings, and they just stopped.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest mistake and the biggest killer of would-be success stories is when people come in and they seek acceptance and approval from those around them. And, not everyone's cut out for business. Not everyone is cut out, for any kind of business, because they just can't handle scrutiny. When I left the corporate world, no one thought that was a good idea. Everyone's like, you're throwing away 7 years of your career. Are you nuts? Like, what's wrong with you? What are you going to do about benefits? Like, I mean, nobody agreed with that move, but it was the best move I could have made. If I couldn't handle scrutiny, I would never have left. I would still be in a job today. And so, you have to be willing to face that scrutiny. And there are people, just to, be fair to some of them, there are people that get brought into network marketing under false pretenses. They get pitched on the story that's an exception, like, oh, Johnny came in and he's making 10,000 his first month, and Johnny didn't know anything. And the truth is Johnny had a team before, or Johnny is really, really connected in the mayor of his town. And so, it's something that a lot of times people are brought in through false pretenses, unfortunately, and they blame the industry, they blame the, profession. And the truth is, in any industry, there's some bad players that aren't doing it the right way. And same with ours. You can't say that every single person in network marketing is doing it the right way, because that's not true. The profession isn't dictating that, it's the individual.
Yes, I love it. So tell me where anyone can find you. Just give them whether your website, whatever you want to give them, so people can track you down. I know a lot of people already know you, so.
Yeah. You can search Ray Higdon. I do a lot of different videos. For our community, our Rank Makers community, I go live in there every single day. I give an action step and a training. And that you can find out more at becomearankmaker.com. Don't take my word for it. You can look at all the different stories on there. It's becomearankmaker.com. And you can check that out, or just search for me on anywhere, and you'll find me for sure. And but I really appreciate you having me on here. We love the profession, love helping educate people about it and what it is, what it isn't. And we love what you do, and helping a lot of average, ordinary people keep more money in their household. And so I just love what you do.
I love it. Thank you, Ray. I appreciate you so much for being on here. And this has been so educational and so helpful for our team, and I will get it on YouTube and send it out. And I just appreciate you for what you've done. And I'm just trying to tag along to help out as much as I can as well.
Oh, you're blowing it up. I'm proud of you. You're rocking and rolling for sure.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
All right. Bye, guys.